A study recently came out showing vegans to have worse fracture risk than those of other eating modalities. Needless to say, I had a slew of people wanting a response video, so here it is. First off, I looked to see if this was meat or dairy industry funded nonsense, but no, this data was from the EPIC Oxford study, so there's little likelihood of bias. It's a large cohort of people that have been studied for a good length of time, and the findings published in the BMC's peer-reviewed journal. So what's going on here, and how do we counter the barrage of trolling that we'll now get from the anti-vegan community? Well, first off, I'd say to never rely on just one study. We need to look at the total balance of available evidence. One study that I read many years ago, I believe it was the China study, found that people eating a predominantly whole foods plant-based diet had the best bone density, and indeed there are many other studies in favor of vegans when it comes to fracture risk. Most epidemiological studies find benefits to vegans, particularly in terms of the top killers such as heart disease, stroke, and certain cancers. But when studies are not in favour of the anti-vegans, we're told that epidemiology is useless. Well, sorry, if this study is conclusive in your mind, then you're agreeing that a vegan diet far outperforms yours in terms of disease risk and lifespan, so cheers. The participants of this study were predominantly white European women, so it's unclear whether these findings would carry over into other groups, as the authors admit. In addition, the non-vegans in this study were far more likely than the vegans to be taking hormone replacement therapy, so we don't know if this plays into it also. As is often the case, the vegans in this study were substantially more active than the other participants, opening them up to increased accident risk. I've certainly had more than my fair share of injuries from weight training and martial arts over the years. Vegans are the only group on average to fall into the healthy BMI range. All other eating modalities tend to be either fat or obese. Although it may sound counterintuitive, the fact is that heavier people suffer fewer fractures. The extra padding can cushion a fall, particularly in terms of hip fractures. In addition, fat cells produce estrogen, which strengthens bones, and the sheer fact that these people weigh more means there's more stress on the bones, creating better density. The trouble is, of course, it's not healthy to carry excess fat. So if the findings of the EPIC Oxford study are correct, what's the answer? Well, meat and dairy are not vitamins. There is zero requirement for the human body to consume dead flesh or animal secretions. We need nutrients. There is no one vegan diet. The word vegan is an ethical stance. It merely serves to inform others of what you don't eat. While it is good form to swerve animal products, if we don't eat predominantly whole plant foods, then we have about a snowball's chance in hell of consuming adequate nutrients. Here is a sample day of eating for a vegan requiring 2,000 calories. It's porridge for breakfast, a simple meal of beans, sweet potatoes and steamed veg for lunch, and then a lentil curry with quinoa for dinner. It has double the protein requirement and 130% of the calcium requirement for an average person. In fact, truth be told, the RDA for calcium is likely set way too high, and this plan would provide more than double of that too. I find it rather odd that the study didn't mention vitamins D or K, both hugely important for bone density. Half the world has low vitamin D status, and this study is UK based, where we get very little strong sunlight for the majority of the year. For this reason, the average adult Brit should be supplementing with around 2,000 IUs of vitamin D per day. Don't expect that you can get this amount of vitamin D from animal products, because you won't. The plan I wrote contains 777% of the RDA of vitamin K1. Anti-vegans delight in telling us that we need vitamin K2, not K1, and while this is correct, bacteria in several organs of our bodies convert vitamin K1 into K2 for us. If you're easily worried by science illiterate types such as Sferridge, though, you could get Vivo Life's vitamin D3 and K2 complex, link and discount code below. Now, interesting to note, the total fibre from this eating plan is nearly 80 grams. The vegan study participants only get 20 to 22 grams of fibre per day, proving that they're eating a fraction of the whole plant foods that they could be. In summary, a whole foods vegan diet outperforms all other eating modalities in terms of optimal health. If there even is an increased fracture risk, which I highly doubt if you're eating a nutritious diet, well, I'll take that over the increased risk of contracting 14 of the 15 leading causes of death. Thank you very much. Now click this.